Funny thing was is that at their wedding I was quite nervous. I was so nervous that it didn't occur to me that the wedding guests were standing the entire time because I never instructed them to sit. So with that said, please be seated.
Well played. Well played. That was my only job, was to get people to stand.
So, wow is the first thing that comes to mind as I stand here before you today. This is quite the venue, and I'm very happy to be here with all of you. After the first three people they asked to do this said no, they asked me. I was number 4, and I'm happy to be number 4. Gentlemen, I'm sure we can all agree that today is a sad day for single men as another beauty leaves the available list. And ladies, I'm sure you'll agree that today has passed by without much of a ripple. It's important to remember today because Tom and Teresa have chosen all of you, those special and important to them, to witness and celebrate the beginning of their life together. Today, as we create this marriage, we also create a new bond and a new sense of family, one that will undoubtedly include all of you. I have had the privilege of knowing Tom almost my entire life. I believe this friendship started in kindergarten, so about 33-ish years ago. For those of you who know him, he loves a good debate, or as everyone else calls it, arguing. I remember thinking, boy, did the stars align when Tom told me that Terisa was a lawyer. Tom is the kind of guy who, when arguing with you, he'll put his hand on your shoulder, smile, and say, if I agreed with you, we'd both be wrong. In the not-so-distant past, I vividly remember Tom saying, and I quote, "I'm never getting married." Now, to be clear, it wasn't that he didn't want to get married, he just wasn't really sure if it was going to happen. So, being the amazing friend that I am, I told him not to worry. There's someone out there for you. It'll happen. Well, as we can all see today, Tom, you were wrong. Now, Tom hates being wrong. Over the years, Tom and I have had a back and forth trying to prove each other wrong, and I am way ahead at this point. And I would be lying if I said I didn't find great pleasure in pointing out that he was wrong in front of a large and captive audience. But, and ironically for me, that's not what my point is. As fate would have it, I stand here today not to point out that Tom was wrong, but rather to say just how right he was when he asked Teresa to be his wife. The first time I met Teresa was, of course, at a clay pigeon shooting range at Peekskill, because God forbid we go get a cup of coffee somewhere. I was very excited to meet her, mostly because Tom had not stopped talking about her since they met. Knowing the kind of guy that Tom is, I was curious to see how she handled him. Tom can be funny, but most of the time, only he and his identical twin will know the humor in their jokes. Teresa figured this out right away, called him out on it all the time, and I was instantly impressed. Teresa is kind, beautiful, incredibly thoughtful, and funny. She truly brings out the best in Tom. She really does. You don't know what he was like before. He's a pleasure now. Joking aside, this proves true for me, and this is what this is all about. Finding that special someone that makes you want to be a better person just by them being them. And that is exactly what the two of you do for one another. In my preparation for today, I reached out to Tom, and I asked him, when did you know that Teresa was the one? His response was as follows. Well, so we have a unique table assignment system instead of standard numbers. We're going with relevant numbers. So, for example, you might be at table 33 because engine 33 is where my dad works. Or you might be at table 1980 because that's the year Teresa was born. I bring this up because there is a table 0, which is the exact amount of time it took for me to figure out that she was the one. So in a long-winded way, I kind of knew at first sight. Of course, she didn't, but I did. As not to raise suspicion, I texted Teresa a few days later, and I asked her the same question. When did you know that Tom was the one? Her response in the text was, still wondering, smiling. Thus reinforcing my love for Teresa. Tom and Teresa are companions. In the past 2 years, they have built an incredible bond, shared adventures on multiple continents, and have become best friends. But the bond they share now goes beyond friendship to a much deeper level of companionship. Today marks a time in their lives when they transition to the lifelong commitment of marriage. There are many here who have been married for longer than I hope that my words do justice today. I believe that marriage is the deepest, strongest, and most binding connection that one person can have with another. It is very hard. It is very easy. It is fun. It is frustrating. But ultimately, it is one of the most powerful connections that we can experience. And it is this connection, this companionship between Teresa and Tom, that we are here today to celebrate. Today is October 17th. For the rest of your lives, you two will look upon this as your anniversary. You are officially married today. Almost. But remember, other than some rings and some changes in the last name, there is no difference between yesterday and tomorrow. You have wonderful times ahead, you have challenging times ahead, and the love and commitment you share with one another will see you through it all. At this time, Tom and Teresa have written their own vows, and they would like to share with one another.
Tom, I choose you because until I met you, I didn't know a companionship like ours. I choose you because you were family for someone else. I choose you because you try so hard every day to be a good friend. I choose you because you don't have the means to carry on who are really love. I choose you because you can call me the security of everything. I choose you because you're intelligent, trustworthy, kind, supportive, and pretty and very. I choose you because not only do I love you truthfully, I happen to really I promise to love you unconditionally every day and twice as much on my worst days. I promise to give you all I have to give. I promise to support you and challenge you to be your best Tom that you can be. I promise not to keep score, even if I'm usually winning. I promise to fight for our love and to do everything in my dreams to make you happy. I promise to build a life together far greater than we could ever imagine on our own. I promise to continue to make you and your dreams come true.
It wasn't until I met you that I learned what it meant to be truly fulfilled. You have made me a more complete person than I ever made possible as I witnessed firsthand your incredible personality traits. You're everything I had ever been looking for but never thought existed. Your marvelous sense of adventure, your instinctive spontaneity, your remarkable beauty, your quick wit, sense of humor, your intimidating intelligence, and your otherworldly selflessness. I consider myself so incredibly fortunate to have you in my life because you challenge me in a way that no one ever has, and it will be my lifelong goal to reciprocate the way you make me feel. In front of all of our family and friends, I want you to know that I love you every day, and I'm so proud to be standing here with you as we embark on the next chapter of this incredible ride. I promise today will be just one of a countless amount of happiest days. I promise to be as good of a husband as I know you will be a wife, and as good of a father as I know you will be a mother. I promise to celebrate the good days and never stop trying to make you smile and laugh on the bad ones. I promise that I'll always be the big spoon to your little spoon, and I promise to hold your hand when you're not.
Let's continue. Thomas, will you have this woman to be your wedded wife, to love her, comfort her, honor and keep her, and forsaking all others, keep you only unto her, so long as you both shall live?
I do.
Teresa, will you have this man to be your wedded husband, to love him, comfort him, honor and keep him, and forsaking all others, keep you only unto him, so long as you both shall live? Thomas, take you, Teresa, to be my wedded wife to have and to hold,
wedded wife, have and to hold, for better, for worse, for sickness and health, for richer, for poorer, for mistake home.
Thomas, take this ring, place it on Teresa's finger, and say, with this ring I do wed. Teresa, place this ring on Thomas's finger and say, with this ring I do wed. Let these rings be given and received as a token of your affection, sincerity, and fidelity to one another. And inasmuch as Teresa and Thomas have consented together in wedlock and have witnessed the same before this company, and pledge their vows to each other, by the authority vested in me by the city of New York, I now pronounce you husband and wife. We're almost done. Before we finish, I just want to take a moment to speak to both of you and tell you how thankful I am to be standing here before you, celebrating this most amazing moment with you and everyone else here. I love you both very much, and I know the future only holds wonderful, wonderful things. Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony has ended, and I now have the high honor of presenting to you for the first time ever, Mr. and Mrs. Thomas Sarasoli.